Games are fun.
And nothing else.
Okay, maybe there's something else there, but only for some games.
We play games because they're fun, so why do some of today's most popular games leave players more aggravated than amused?
To explore this question, we decided to pick apart the anatomy of some of our favorite games.
What we found were 6 key factors that, when taken together, unlock the answer, and at the end of this video, we'll use them to find some of the most calming and most frustrating games.
The first key factor is one that academics have been talking about for years.
Yeah, that's right, real researchers have asked this question before.
And the one factor that every paper agreed on.
Competition is the first and most important key when it comes to understanding frustration in games. Competition's impact can clearly be felt when comparing a competitive first-person shooter to a casual first-person shooter.
Valorant is one of the most upsetting games ever made. It's also one of the most competitive.
When you're at the bottom of a scoreboard, it's easy for the negative performance of a team to be directed at one specific person.
Leaderboards and scoreboards are an essential part of any competitive game, but they can also be quite harmful.
In their article, Leaderboard Positions and Stress, Experimental Investigation into an Element of Gamification, Schlummer, Spies, and Schlergel state that users can easily feel weakened compared to better placed persons, and consequently may encounter higher levels of stress. It's that harsh competition that adds tension and stakes to every corner you push, every angle you peek, every play you make. It's why people love the game, but it's also why people hate it.
Performing well in Valorant feels excellent. It gives you a sense of accomplishment and skill expression that less competitive games just fail to reach. On the other hand, performing poorly can feel truly devastating.
It's devastating because Valorant is built to be taken seriously, and players do take it seriously. When you're performing poorly, you feel frustrated with yourselves, and those feelings are distracting, creating a cycle of poor performance and frustration.
Perhaps even more frustrating is when your teammates are the ones dragging you down. I mean, you're doing fine, so why are you being punished for bad teammates?
Competition can act a fire of frustration. With yourself, the game, teammates. It's incredibly impactful on the other keys because if they feed the fire instead of dampening it, you can be left with something like Valorant.
Matches in Valorant last almost an hour, adding to the sense of tension and stakes that each loss brings. And its voice chat system, something necessary for coordinating with your team in this hyper-competitive environment, lays out the red carpet for toxicity.
And don't be mistaken, the hyper-competitive nature of Valorant isn't an issue with the FPS genre, it's an issue of gameplay purpose. Why people play the game. Gameplay purpose is our second key to solving the issue.
There is no one universal reason why players play the game that they do. But for most games, there's one or two objectives that most players are looking for when they boot up the game. So what is the objective of playing Valorant? And why is that so important to understanding why it's such a frustrating game?
It's to win and rank up. That's the gameplay purpose. Sure, there's lore to the game, but there's no story mode. There's no casual mode that people actually take casually, and there's nothing novel about each match. You play to succeed competitively.
And when half the games you're playing are going to be losses, you are failing to reach the objective, the purpose of playing Valorant quite frequently. In their paper, Royale found that losing a single 10-minute competitive game was associated quite strongly with frustration. Can you imagine how much worse it might feel to lose a 45-minute game and D-rank? I would imagine it might be a bit worse.
And to reiterate, this isn't an FPS issue. It's the way upsetting games like Valorant are built. Take a casual FPS like Friends vs. Friends. It has a similar depth of gameplay, yet it's far less frustrating than Valorant, despite having purposefully unfair and annoying mechanics.
Another reason behind this is the more casual nature of the game. The game uses cards instead of abilities, allowing players to build their own little deck of war crimes. One of my favorites is a card that stops the enemy player from jumping. I've got a cool parkour challenge you want to try. Just do that little, just jump up.
Yeah.
You just gotta jump up.
No.
It's really that. It's really not that.
The fast-paced matches, combined with the chaos of each player's custom deck, creates a game where the stakes feel much lower. While the general objective is still to win, frequently sillier goals overtake this gameplay purpose in a way that rarely happens in MMR-focused games.
In many of our matches, we found gameplay purpose outside of winning. We found it in things like nuking a nuke, building as many turrets as possible, or even just clown shoes. In this way, the gameplay purpose of a casual FPS is more split between winning and having silly fun. And silly is a key word there, because casual games often curb the frustration from competition with our third key, whimsy.
Whimsical games present unique gameplay, a silly tone, and emphasize playfulness over seriousness. If a game doesn't take itself too seriously, you probably won't either.
Valorant, as a game without a dedicated clown shoe ability, lacks whimsy. Its gameplay copied from another game, its abilities sanded down to fit in a competitive environment. It flirts with whimsy through things like superpowers and side game modes, but it wants you to take it seriously.
But whimsy is merely one factor of the whole. Perhaps more than any other factor, it should only be considered when looking at the entirety of a game.
Rocket League is a game that fully immerses itself in whimsy.
You get to play soccer in a supercar wearing a sombrero with bubbles for boost. You do a gravity-defying stunt, and when you score, suddenly you're in Bikini Bottom listening to Hatsune Miku.
That's playful, that's silly, and yet Rocket League can be just as frustrating as Valorant. Why is that?
It's because the whimsy is cosmetic. There are over 100 car models in the game, but they all reuse one of 6 base hitboxes. Every other customization cosmetic is just that, cosmetic.
And its core movement mechanics offer some of the most creative freedom in all of gaming. It has one of the highest skill ceilings in gaming, so while it is whimsical, it being built like a competitive game means that people will take it seriously. And they do.
And with such a high skill ceiling, there can be vast discrepancies in skill level even within the same rank, which has helped the community to become downright toxic.
Some will just spam the classic quick chats.
What a save!
The easy resolution being just to mute the chat. It can range from blaming you for everything to disconnecting from the match, leaving you down one player and putting you at a severe disadvantage.
Players don't stop there. The game relies heavily on team play. Make one wrong move, whether it be allowing a goal, missing a shot on an empty net, or stealing their boost, and your teammate won't let you forget it.
And to be fair, the heinous stuff you hear in a Valorant voice chat is way worse than what you'll see in Rocket League. But it's the sheer consistency in Rocket League.
So when Matt and I were planning this video, I told him that I would play 10 matches of 3v3 just to see if the community was still just as bad as I thought it was. I could only get through 5 matches. In 3 of them I had someone say something definitely reportable to me, one of them I had a teammate disconnect, and the other one, where I didn't have anything go wrong with my team, someone was throwing on the other team, and somehow I still lost.
So either the community is a cesspool, or Jay is just really bad at Rocket League. With such team-oriented gameplay, it's unfortunate that Rocket League has such a upsetting community. It almost makes you want to play a game where you can control all of the characters.
The Sims is a game based on character simulation and your own creativity.
Its building system and character creation offer players significant freedom in how they want to play the game. And its slow-paced nature makes it an accessible choice for players of any skill level.
As a single-player game, competition and toxicity are inherently limited. The slow pace and accessibility ensures that players don't feel tense while playing the game. This pacing and low difficulty showcases our 5th key, gameplay intensity.
Valorant, Friends vs. Friends, and Rocket League are all high-intensity games. Outcomes happen quickly, and they are impactful. Things like scoring, dying, these can be decided in the matter of seconds.
This can have run-on effects. In a low-intensity game, obstacles like game lag, connectivity issues, or outside distractions are minor annoyances. But in high-intensity games, it could mean losing the game.
In their paper, Kahila et al. Finds that external factors can be some of the most aggravating for their study participants. Things like game lag or someone being loud next door add to the sense of frustration in these tense environments. You aren't going to lose the game if you lag in Sims, but in Valorant, that could cost you the round.
In The Sims, negative outcomes are relatively minor. Death can be disabled, saves reloaded, and a pace of your preference set.
Too much happening? Just pause time. The gameplay intensity of The Sims helps to ease your tension, not raise it. And this has a measurable impact on where frustration comes from in The Sims.
Building can be a headache with limited tools for complex builds, and the process to enable cheats isn't exactly made clear for new players, but the majority of the frustration in The Sims comes from the disgust over EA's monetization practices. The freemium model of modern Sims gives you the game, but locks basic features from previous installments behind different paywalls. It's ridiculous, but at least pay locking features like in The Sims isn't a part of competitive games. That would just be terrible.
Jay and I have collectively sunk hundreds of hours into this game. We have a clan, we do tournaments with our friends, and it is the biggest pile of Supercell level 16 that I ever saw.
Clash Royale reveals our sixth and final key, the perception of fairness.
People perceive Valorant as unfair for its bad teammates, cheating, smurfs, but we all know that's not the reason we're stuck in gold.
In tape to tape, opponents will literally cheat, but some of your team's powers also feel like cheating, so it feels somewhat fair. But Clash Royale, more than any other game in this video, Clash Royale is not a fair game.
In concept, the game should be fair. Everyone has the same cards and you unlock more as you play the game. You might be thinking that sounds a lot like Friends vs. Friends. You're wrong!
In Friends vs. Friends, there are 3 card levels with minor changes between them. In Clash Royale, the max card level is 14, 15. I'm sorry, it's 16 now?
It can take literal months to level up your deck to level 14, level 15, and a 1 or 2 level difference in cards can change the key interactions between them. So you better hope that your deck doesn't get nerfed because you've spent months building it and it's the only thing you can play.
Even if your deck somehow stays meta, Supercell continues to move the goalposts for playing this game competitively. The max level seems to change every 2 years, and mechanics like evolutions and heroes keep adding new rare resources that you need in order to keep up in this game. The only way to actually keep up is just to keep spending.
Don't want to play the same deck for years? Too bad! Your other cards are too low level to compete. Don't want to buy the new hero or evolution? Too bad. You'll be queuing up against them for the next few weeks. Clash Royale is the only deck builder that actively punishes its players for wanting to build new decks.
There is whimsy in Clash, but very little in the main game modes where you can't experiment with decks. In friendly 1v1s, 2v2s, and side events where levels are standardized, the game shines.
Clash Royale can be a whimsical game. It's silly, it's got fanciful concepts, but when the game is so unfair, it turns that whimsy rotten. A new hero with a cool new ability gets released. Look in the comments. You're going to see people complaining, not excited. Clash Royale might be one of the only gaming communities that actively dislikes game updates. And can you blame them?
It's tragic, because there once was a good game here. The base mechanics are solid, intense but strategic, and great for competitive play. But the monetization and feature bloat makes it impossible for the game to feel fair.
But the game and its community still somehow treats it like a competitive game. The goal of many a player is to climb the trophy road.
We do it almost out of a sense of defiance now, to show that our skill expression can somehow surmount the pay-to-win rot of the game. And maybe it can, but you're not going to enjoy it. When I hit 10k trophies for the first time, sure, I felt accomplished, but it was outweighed by a sense of relief, like an excruciating fight had finally ended. And then they made the cap 15k.
What's left is a community mad at the game, mad at their opponents for perceived unfairness. They spent the money, they bought the cards, they're cheating. But most of all, it's a community mad at themselves for playing the same game that has not brought them joy in far too long.
And they'll make their feelings felt. The game is toxic, and Supercell knows this. They feed it with new toxic emotes to milk their player base's misery just that little bit further.
You can disable emotes. A nuclear option, but a welcome one in the seas of despair that Clash Royale now sails. Regardless, this leaves Clash Royale in an unenviable state. It's a game that is highly competitive, highly intense, highly toxic, highly unfair, and MMR focused, all at once.
Those are our 6 keys, and here's how some other games measure on this.
Disclaimer, these are opinion-based. For example, Jay thinks LEGO Star Wars is a fun, little, calming childhood game, and I think that its platforming was built to torture the masses.
Matt, it's a kid's game, it's not Dark Souls.
Speaking of which, Souls-like and Faudian games break the single-player trend of being chill by adding knowledge check traps and high gameplay intensity and difficulty to the mix.
These games don't need team voice chat or even other players to be toxic. The gameplay itself is toxic. Getting over it and Elden Ring wouldn't be any fun if you could just pick it up and pass every obstacle on your first try. The joy of the game comes with getting frustrated at each loss of progress, but persisting and completing it despite the difficulty.
No games punish you more than a Faudian game. You die in a LEGO game, you lose a few studs. You die in Valorant, you maybe D-rank and get yelled at by an insta-lock jet named I Miss Her.
But if you mess up in a Faudian game, it could mean several hours of progress lost, in some cases even being reset back to the beginning of the game.
Souls-like and Faudian games can definitely feel unfair with their intense difficulty and knowledge check traps, but it is a static challenge. You aren't comparing yourself against ever-improving human players. It is a mountain that you climb through your gameplay. So in some ways, it also feels more fair than playing a competitive game.
The friend slop genre is the opposite. Games like Repo and Peak can be tense at moments, but they're above all meant to be a silly time with friends. Even when losing, it's hard to be mad at a game that begs you not to take it seriously.
On the other hand, there's chess. It's a competitive game and it begs you to take it seriously. And people do. But it's built around a slow-paced intensity. It's methodical. And it's built on a community that is relatively chill, relatively polite. In chess, there's also a much higher perception of fairness. There are cheating scandals, but that's the minority. When you lose in a game of chess, it's not because your teammate was performing badly. It's not often because someone is cheating or smurfing. It's because you played worse than them. There's an honor in losing a game of chess that you don't really see in a lot of other competitive games.
GeoGuessr is similar to chess. You're put in a 1v1 and you're given equal playing fields, and it's about as whimsical as Google Maps can be. You could be spawned in a beautiful coastal mountain range or some dingy alleyway.
But there are many other variables. Maybe you went the wrong way and your opponent noticed a URL or a country code that you just didn't see. Or maybe you've memorized something no sane mind would and it gave you the leg up.
Like how the guardrails in Spain have orange reflectors on them, or that the chevrons in Argentina are red and white, which is the signposts in Botswana are black and white, or that New South Wales is the only in Peru, they're often mounted in concrete blocks, and the Ukrainian Street View car is red.
If I lost a game of GeoGuessr to that, I don't think I would even be upset. Finally, Tape to Tape shows that computer opponents can literally cheat, and it's fine, as long as it's still silly fun.
No one likes to lose, but when you lose a hockey game to a 9-man roster of soccer players, or a team of corporate sellouts that literally cover your game in advertisements...
Oh no! Oh, what the heck? How are we supposed to shoot on this net?
It's hard not to just laugh at how absurd it all is.
Getting frustrated in a game is almost inevitable. Even in the most chill games, you can find something so small that might irk you.
The 6 factors we talked about are things that need to be looked at altogether. Nothing is inherently right or wrong with any of them individually, but when you start to combine certain things, it can start to get messy.
And now that we have those patterns in mind, how do we build a game that maximizes or minimizes frustration?
The most frustrating game would most definitely be a competitive player versus player, and most users should be playing it with the goal of ranking up.
It would be fast-paced and intense, or any lag, connection drop, or distraction could cause your loss.
The game would have to be perceived as extremely unfair, and ideally, that perception should be true.
And its community would be toxic enough to dissolve your love for humanity.
And it should be just whimsical enough to feel annoying when you're in a bad mood, but not enough to put you in a good mood.
So what would this game, one that is built to purposefully piss off their players, look like?
Clash Royale. It would look like Clash Royale.
Genuinely, I think the only possible way to make that game more frustrating would be to make Random Queue 2v2 the only official competitive game mode. That way, you can get pissed off at your teammate as well.
That's messed up, man. Why would you put that in another world?
Yes, sorry, Jay.
It's fine, just... Can we talk about the least upsetting game?
Sure. The least upsetting game would be extremely fair and whimsical, putting a smile on your face while being just so damn honorable.
There would also be low intensity, minimizing harsh outcomes, and probably single player with a nice community that keeps competition and toxicity to a minimum.
Maybe something like Tiny Glade, a little game of castle building in a calming environment.
The yin to Evo Firecracker's yang.
This video took a ton of effort, so if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to both of our channels. We do this for the love of the game, but any support is, of course, appreciated.
We'd love to keep these coming, so let us know what topics you'd like us to cover.
Thank you for watching.
And see you in the next one. Alright, I think that was a good video.